Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk about something deep space related. Not the GC. We're going to talk about the Great Attractor. This is something that has been on my radar. I've gotten some messages on Reddit, and even a couple to email from past clients asking if I was going to ever talk about this, ever get into this, or even if I was aware that the Great Attractor exists in the first place. I am aware that it exists. I'm glad that you all are, though, too. I think that's really cool. So I'm glad that y'all are aware of it, too. But yes, I am aware that it exists, but it is not something that I have fully thrown myself into. And it might be a minute before I do fully throw myself into it. I'll probably start doing some more looking into it, but fully throwing myself into it, I'm really fully thrown into the GC and starting to go into the super GC. So this might not come till a little bit later, but it is on my radar and it is something that I am very curious about. First, if you want to, you can pull the Great Attractor on Astro.com. I don't know how to pull it on any other website, but you can pull it on Astro.com. You go to the fixed stars where you would go to pull the GC, but instead of pulling the GC, you've pulled something called the Great Attractor. It might even have a GA in front of it. It might say GA Great Attractor or Great Attractor GA, or it might just say Great Attractor. I can't really remember, but that's what it looks like. And so you pull it and it'll show up on your chart when you create your chart. Right now, currently it's at 14 degrees, 11 or 12 minutes Sagittarius. But you do want to see where it is because it does move slowly, but it moves. Like for instance, 33 years ago when I was born, it was at, I think 13 degrees, 58 minutes Sagittarius. So it does move. It just moves slowly. But it does move. So you do want to look and see where it is, where it was when you were born, if you're curious about this. So what exactly is it? I don't really know what the fuck it is, to be honest. Scientists don't really seem to know what the fuck it is either. It functions like a black hole, but it warps time and space and light and all of that. It does all of those things that a black hole does. However, it has no event horizon. Black holes have an event horizon. The Great Attractor does not. So while it functions kind of like a black hole, it's not actually classified as such. Now the Great Attractor seems to be the gravitational pull point of I might pronounce this wrong, the Laniakea supercluster of meta galaxies, essentially. A bunch of different galaxies and superclusters make up the Laniakea supercluster, essentially, and ours is part of that. We are in this. We are in this. Yeah. Okay, so it seems to be pulling things towards it. But again, things that it seems to also run, and I might have this a little fucked. I'll be honest, I might have this a little fucked. But it does seem to almost run into other superclusters of galaxies, or get close to them. And it pulls it towards, the Great Attractor pulls these things towards it, but doesn't actually destroy them yet. It very well could in time. But I guess scientists have observed, where they think the Great Attractor is and another supercluster being very close to it. And how is that possible that supercluster is there if the Great Attractor is also there? So there's some definite questions about the way that this thing functions. And exactly what the fuck it is. Now also, here on Earth, we can't actually see the Great Attractor with visible light wavelengths because it's in the zone of avoidance in the sky. So we can't actually see it, which and then I'm applying that to a chart, right? Like I'm thinking about it. The reason why I pull the science into it is because I'm thinking about it from a scientific standpoint and then applying that to how this might function in a chart. So it's something that we really can't see here on Earth. Let me see if I missed anything science-y. Oh, yeah. They think it is they think that it's made from primarily dark energy. Just to give you the technical definition of what this is. Dark energy is anything that is in effect an intrinsic property of space that has a constant energy density regardless of the dimensions of the volume under consideration. Thus, unlike ordinary matter, it is not diluted by the expansion of space. So, and essentially they think that it is dark energy. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Great Attractor is translated to anything dark, but they think that it's comprised of dark energy. They think that anyway. It's been proposed. So then the question is, how would this translate to something in a natal chart? That's a good fucking question. I have seen some ideas online that people have thrown out there. I am not sure that I agree with all of them myself. It's a little too soon for me to say exactly why I'm not sure I agree with all of them, but I'm not sure I do. But it does seem to me that. Oh, and another thing I've noticed online, people will only really seem to be focusing on people or the Great Attractor in the natal chart if the Great Attractor is conjunct the rising, if the Great Attractor is conjunct the moon or the sun. I would open that up more to any planet conjunct the Great Attractor. I would personally. I don't think it's just. I don't know if that's because everybody is so obsessed with what their big three is or whatever. If that's the only reason why those seem to be considered, it could be. But I would include other planets too. This one to me, I know I've mentioned the GC, the galactic centers, as kind of being like an antenna that receives things and sends things out. The Great Attractor does feel similar to that, though, because scientifically it falls in the zone of avoidance and we can't see it here on Earth. It does make me wonder if Great Attractor conjunctions to planets, this might be something that they're not as understood by the person. Like, they have a planet conjunct the Great Attractor, that planet, or they're rising or whatever, they might attract things to them and really not realize that they're doing this. Like, they're just because we can't even see it here on Earth because of where it is. So it does make me feel like if you were to translate that down to a chart, the person may not even feel the pull that they have on things around them. If we're talking about the rising, that would be, things that they kind of pull in naturally to them. With their moon, it might be more emotional things that they pull in. With Mercury, it might be thoughts, things through communication. It would really depend on what we're talking about, but it does make me think that there is a sense of the person maybe not being as aware of what's going on, of what they are attracting. It seems possible anyway. that it could go that way. And I feel like part of, I do feel like that, which does seem to make it feels difficult to me in that way. You know, if you don't even know what the fuck you're attracting in the first place, how the fuck do you consciously try to attract what you want? Do you know what I mean? So it does seem like there could be some lack of knowing, or even lack of control over what you draw in to yourself. If you have the Great Attractor conjunct something in your chart. I don't know. I mean, you could use, I might not use quite as wide of an orb for this one. You know, the GC looking at, you know, right now, 10 degrees applying and 10 degrees separating from the GC. I don't know. I might bring this one in a little bit more. Intuitively, I'm kind of led to bring it in a little bit more. I don't know, maybe like 7 degrees applying, separating. Obviously, the closer the planet is to being conjunct the Great Attractor, perhaps the stronger it is. Obviously, the stronger the pull on that planet. And perhaps the stronger that planet attracts things. I could see that being the case. Let me see if I missed anything. No. Oh, yeah. Okay, but I'll up you one. So, the Great Attractor, there's also something called the Shapely Supercluster and the Shapely Attractor. Shapely Attractor might actually be stronger than the Great Attractor. Might be. But if this thing called the Shapely Attractor does exist, it is made from the Great Attractor and this Shapely Supercluster coming together. Now, this is also interesting. This I have no idea how to pull on a chart. I have no fucking clue how you pull this. But I have to look into that a little bit more. But it does, there could be something else. I mean, I think the Great Attractor I think it is something, and I think it is important. And from a personal point of view, I have this little fucker right on my rising. So and I do feel like I don't always have control over things I attract. So I do think it's important. But there might be something else that's even more important. This Shapely Attractor might be even more important, or it might play in somehow with, you know, it might be like a piece. I don't know. But I wanted to throw this out there. I might make a blog post about this. I haven't decided yet. I probably will at some point. If it's done by the time I post this, I'll link it to the description. But I did want to, because it is interesting. It is an interesting thing. And if anybody knows anything about this and you want to toss around some ideas, let me know. Or if you just want to share your own, if you have the Great Attractor conjunct something in your chart and you want to share an experience or how you think that it manifests in your life, I'd love to hear. Because it kind of seems like, while I do think it is like an attracting force, clearly Great Attractor, that's the name. It might be kind of a wild card, like the GC. It might function a little differently depending on, you know, what house it falls in and what planet is conjuncted. You know, I do think I think it's probably one of those things, kind of like the GC. Like, it probably matters to some degree in everybody's chart, but I do think people that have like stuff conjunct it probably feel it more, if you will, or feel something. They may not know what it is, but because it does fall in that zone of avoidance, like I was talking about, but they might feel there's something there, just not really knowing what it is or having control over it. Anyway, I'm going to get going. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Let's Fuck With Astrology. I am at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Apaterno Astrology on Instagram. If you do... if you want to like or subscribe or whatever on YouTube, you can find us by searching for Let's Fuck With Astrology in the YouTube search bar. If you do the Reddit thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck with Astrology. And if you're interested in the star cards, go to letsfuckwithastrology.com/star-cards. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later.